Wishing for a Christmas mortgage miracle? Patriot Trading Group wants to make your wish come true. Just enter to win on Family Values Radio website, and you can enjoy your mortgage paid for all of 2020. That's right. It's the Christmas Mortgage Miracle Contest, where if you win, you'll have all kinds of extra money the entire year for a vacation, new clothes, new giant screen TV with whole home audio, whatever else may be on your wish list, because the winner will receive their mortgage or rent payments covered for all of 2020. To enter, go to FamilyValuesRadio1010.com and click on the banner. Enter once each day to increase your chances to win and look for bonus entry opportunities. That's FamilyValuesRadio1010.com and enter the Christmas Mortgage Miracle Contest, sponsored by Patriot Trading Group. Contest ends December 20th. See our website for details.
Hey, good morning and welcome. Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group. Legal, lawful, constitutional tender, a.k.a. wealth insurance, a.k.a. gold and silver. It is what we do, and we do it better than anybody out there. It is holiday time. Turkey Day is coming at Thursday. So, as always, I will be giving you, because I know that you like it, because everybody wants to hear what I have to say. I'm going to give you the perfect Thanksgiving advice, especially if you've got the teenage kids and really kids in general. How's that? It's almost regardless of age, of how to have a really good Thanksgiving without overstaying the welcome, because you know how it is with family, right? Can't we all just get along? No, you can't. Right? You always got some kind of friction, whether it's with a sibling or the parents or the grandparents, the aunt, the uncle. No, you can never just get along, but I will give you some great Thanksgiving Day advice for how you can have your turkey and eat it too. Just tune in for that. That's coming up next. Got to update you on the playoffs. I know I talk about it a lot. My son's football team, they lost in the state semifinals on Friday. A heartbreaker. Congratulations to Campo Verde. They played fantastic. They built a 20-7 halftime lead. We had the ball at like the 2-yard line, their 2-yard line, at the end of the first half, and we ran out of time. We were out of timeouts, and it was so. And then in the second half, our defense pitched the shutout. We had it 2017, and we were driving. We were at about their 35-yard line or so. We needed about another 15 yards to get into field goal range, and we ran out of time. So Campo Verde is on to the finals. Congratulations to all the teams. And I don't think it's this weekend. They take this week off because of Thanksgiving. The following Saturday, I think they play. Good luck to all the participants. So now you know our football season's over. And I'll tell you, I was really proud of my kid, though, on Saturday. I didn't say a word. We didn't even talk about it. He comes out of his room, which is, I don't know what he does up there, right? But he comes out of the room, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to go work out. And then he did it again yesterday. Went and worked out. So he's already getting ready for next year. And I actually was texting the coach over the weekend because I know he was, takes it hard. It's a hard thing when you lose a tough game like that, and when you had big aspirations, and gave him our support and said, hey, listen, we're going to make another run next year. So when that comes around, I'll keep you posted on that. 800-951-0592. That is our toll-free number. Of course, the website at allamericangold.com. Remember, so holiday week, this is going to be a short week. So remember, you can always go to the website and order online. You can go to allamericangold.com. You click the shop button, the shop tab button, whatever. I think it's called a button. Takes you to our shopping cart. The shopping cart never closes. Of course, unless the shopping cart provider has a problem. But other than that, it's up 365 days a year. We will be closed Thursday and Friday. So Thursday and Friday, we will be closed On Monday, we will reopen, depending on where we're going to be, whether we're on our way up to Colorado or not there on Monday. We may have another repeat, so you'll have a repeat Thursday, Friday, possibly Monday as well, and then Tuesday we'll be back at it. But our offices will be open on Monday. So you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, closed Thanksgiving Day and the day after. Office will reopen again on Monday. But if you get the bug and you just need to get some gold and silver put away, the website, you can order online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at allamericangold.com. And just another record, at least on the S&P and I think the NASDAQ this morning, not on the Dow. And a lot of these things, right, we're watching the data come in differently than what Wall Street's doing, but trade deal, no trade deal, right, it's dominating, right? It just is the talk of the town, and I'll just reiterate this. Jim Cramer actually was on TV this morning talking about how, hey, wait a minute, this media got it wrong. China has to relent. They got to get in. We got to support the president. And I think the President Xi in China said it perfectly. It was Friday. He wants an equal trade. And, of course, at that point, there is no trade, right? I mean, the problem is we've got an unequal trade deal. Can't have it equal, and that's kind of what the president had said. But nonetheless, we'll have to wait and see. I don't know. I mean, there's somebody asked about phase two, which I thought was pretty funny. At both sides, China and the U.S. said, yeah, nobody's talking about phase two. We're just trying to get to phase one. When we get back, the smaller banks, is there more trouble brewing for the smaller banks? And remember, this is a problem, right? We've got a problem in the banking industry, all this consolidation. Nobody can make any money, so you do a lot of riskier loans. We'll talk about that when we return. 800-951-0592. I will tell you, after about, 9:30. Weather is so great here. Even early in the morning, it's about 50 degrees in the morning here, maybe into the 40s. Just absolutely gorgeous. Actually got a round of golf in yesterday. Me and a buddy of mine played Rancho Mañana. Was in great shape, even though it was a little wet. Rancho, we had a lot of rain over during the week last week, but the course was in fantastic shape. So if you're a golfer out there, it is definitely golf season. Make sure you get out there, get a little exercise. Talking about banks, we've got under 5,000 banks now, and I've told you, we had 18,000 banks in the 80s, and part of the I'll call it deregulation because I don't know what else to call it. We had rules in place for banks. We had similar rules in place for media, right? And even, retailers. And we kind of had this thing about, hey, you can be in a geographical area, right? But we don't want you to be too big. Because if you get too big, right, you could cause systemic risk to the system, right? I mean, could you imagine if Walmart didn't open tomorrow, as an example, right? I mean, that'd be a tough pill to swallow. And now maybe not here in Phoenix because there's other retailers, but in a lot of smaller places, they're the only one, right? They worried in the media about what we have today, right? This is what they worried about. Hey, you're only going to get one message. right? That's it. You don't have any other message but one, and maybe call it two, right? And everybody reads off the same script, and of course I know a lot about TV, learning about radio, but in the TV industry, right, the news reporter in Pittsburgh reads the exact same news as the person in Phoenix and the person in Colorado, right? They're all regurgitating the same thing. And in the banking industry, what they worried about, and rightfully so, was systemic risk. Hey, if we let these banks get too big and they don't do the right thing, and by doing the right thing, they don't calculate risk properly, it could blow up the whole system, which, of course, we saw it happen. Right? It wasn't very nice, right? We don't want to see it again. But they scrapped all those rules because they wanted, right? Well, it's greed, right? Greed kicks in, and what we had is we went from 18,000 banks. We don't even have 5,000 anymore. And every year we lose a couple hundred, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. Some of them through mergers, right? We just had another bank merger last week, two what I would call mid-sized banks coming together. And others just simply go out of business. But really, where you take away about the 20, let's be generous and go to, say, the 50 largest banks. Okay, set them in one bucket. And you look at the other 4,000, where are we? I don't know, 4,800 other banks out there. They're starting to pile up losses because it's been hard to make money out there, right? I mean, we see the yield curve's flat. It was inverted for a while. The Fed's funds rate, is down to between 1.5 and 1.75, and yet the 10-year note only yields like 1.7. So these banks have been giving out a lot of loans. Now, the big banks loan to big companies, right? We worry about that, right? How many of these big companies are just truly zombies? In other words, yeah, they can make money the fake way, right, with adjusted earnings, and they can stay in business by refinancing debt or getting more loans, right? Robbing Peter to pay Paul, and hope that somehow miraculously they can turn it all around. These smaller banks loan to consumers. And there's a great video, and we'll get it up on our website tomorrow. Wolf Richter did it. It's about an 11-minute. If you go to wolfstreet.com, you can listen to it on your own. He breaks down all the default rates for subprime autos, subprime credit cards, right? And this is the wheelhouse. Think about it. There's 4,500 banks, give or take. I guess 4,800 banks, give or take, that fight for that level of consumer. Do we have more trouble coming? We're going to have less banks. That's what I'm getting at. Get ready for those numbers to drop. Then we had Neil Kashkari, who's the Federal Reserve Chief in Minneapolis. Over the weekend, he started talking about how the central bank needs to start redistributing wealth. I didn't even know that was on their mandate, right? What happened to, stable prices, full employment? Apparently, because of all the intervention now, they're worrying about, someone needs to. And this is we've seen this play out many a time where the people at the very top do well. And here's the problem. You know how many people are at the very top? Such a small number. Such a small number. Some at the bottom, right? I mean, the minimum wage goes up, right? I mean, I don't know where. I think we're at like 11. Maybe we're coming to 12. I think Colorado's kind of the same place, right? But overall, wages for everybody else are stuck. And then you start hearing the central bank now talking about the need to have to redistribute the wealth in some type of adjustment cycle. So Neil Kashkari was talking about monetary policy can play the kind of redistributing role once thought to be preserved for elected officials. So get ready. I don't know what that means. What are they going to do? Right? What is the Federal Reserve? How are they going to possibly do this? And this is what I'm saying. Our wealth is under attack. And whether you have a lot of it, whether you have a little of it, the bottom line is everybody is looking at the United States differently than it used to. Right? We've got a debt problem. We've got a liquidity problem. Now, they may tell you that they've got it handled. Right? How do they have the debt problem handled? Well, we think that we can just keep going into debt for a while. But see, then when you keep going into debt, then you run into what is the liquidity problem, which is you have these debt auctions, and there's not enough people there to buy it. And the reason why they can't buy it is because they still got a bunch of the debt that you sold them the last time. And then you get stuck, right? And you get into this never-ending cycle. So today, as an example, we had a brand new type of repo auction. This one lasting 42 days, where the central bank goes to your bank. I don't know which bank, because they won't tell you. Was it Bank of America? Was it Citigroup? Was it J.P. Morgan? Was it some little savings and loan? I don't know. Most people would speculate it's probably all of them. But this is where they try to get, hey, we need liquidity every day. Every day we need liquidity. So now the central bank says, hey, you know what? We've got the daily liquidity. We got the two-week liquidity. Now they've created a 28-day liquidity and a 42-day liquidity. Today it was 42 days that they went out there and said, okay, we're going to give you money in exchange for your debt, mostly in form of treasuries. See, because they're cash poor, you know. And a lot of us as Americans, we've been there. Right? Hey, I'm just cash poor right now until I get my next paycheck, right? Right? I don't have enough money. I need a little advance. This is the banks right now. Now I know, right? The Dow, or depending on where, the Dow in general, the S&P, Nasdaq, right? We're at all-time highs. Yet banks have a liquidity problem. Hey, I need a little help here because I've got all my money tied up in this debt. And, customers want to withdraw money. They want to pay the mortgage. Companies want to make their payrolls. They want to pay their suppliers. Right? I got a little problem. And now this problem, it grows, almost every month now? So today, 42 days of liquidity we're going to give you in one shot. It was 2 times oversubscribed. So in other words, banks were like, yes, yeah, give me that. And you're sitting there thinking about, how does this end? Have you asked yourself, how does it end? How are the banks all of a sudden going to get this extra liquidity? Because every day we've got to sell tens of billions of dollars worth of debt. It's not like it stops. And, of course, we're starting to see, we did the show last week, all these other banks, they could go to the auction. They do. I don't want to act like foreigners don't go. They do. Foreign banks are there. But they're not buying any extra. Matter of fact, a lot of them have done what? Bought a little less, right? Hey, today I had whatever, a 2-year note expire. I bought these 2 years ago, and I held it. It's come to maturity, and 2 years ago I bought $5 billion of that auction. Normally, what you would see is these foreign banks, and even our own banks, right, roll over the $5 billion, and maybe even say, I'm going to bump it up another, $500 million. I'm going to do 5.5, and for the next 2 years. Instead, what we're seeing is what? Yeah, maybe I'm going to only do 4.5. Right? I'm not rolling it all over. I'm still buying, but I'm not buying as much. The problem is the size of the auctions keep getting bigger. And we started speculating about what's happening and what are they doing. So what did they do with this extra money? And it turns out a lot of these governments are doing what? They're buying gold. And then I think it was probably about 10 days ago, maybe a little less, but within the last 2 weeks, there's been a lot of big announcements out of China, in particular when it comes to cryptocurrencies. And all of a sudden now, China is seemingly taking the center stage and becoming the first nation that's going to issue their own cryptocurrency. We've got an update for you when we return.
This is the Phyllis Schlafly Report, a daily look at the significant issues of our time from an experienced conservative perspective. Sponsored by Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, this broadcast continues the legacy of Phyllis Schlafly and stands against forces that mock traditional values, slander America, and redefine the family. Now, the president of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, Ed Martin.
The student government at the University of Oklahoma has officially passed a resolution banning the Pledge of Allegiance from its meetings. Unfortunately, they aren't the first school to try this. It's part of a disturbing trend in academia to remove any display of patriotism from our college campuses. They say they're doing it to make schools more welcoming to everyone, but all they're really doing is driving people apart. The OU student government resolution claimed their reasoning was to respect the free exercise of religion for students who don't want to pledge allegiance to one nation under God. They also wanted to be more inclusive of students who aren't American citizens. However, that line of reasoning doesn't quite hold water. No one is ever compelled to say the Pledge of Allegiance if they don't want to, no matter what their reasoning is. I don't know anybody, conservative or liberal, who wants to force people to say the pledge. I agree with the OU College Republicans, who released a statement saying, while we respect everyone's right to not say the Pledge of Allegiance, we would urge them to do otherwise. The Pledge of Allegiance transcends partisanship, race, ethnicity, and all of the divides in our country. It reminds us that though we may disagree or look different or not worship the same, we are one nation, indivisible. This statement by the OU College Republicans proves that conservatives are the real tolerant people. Even the student who instigated this removal of the pledge admitted that it wasn't about respecting religion. She confessed that her problem with the pledge is that it was written for the 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus's discovery of America. Like other politically correct academics, she prefers to paint Columbus as a shameful character in American history. If the student government at OU really wants to divest themselves from the symbols of national unity like the Pledge of Allegiance, they should have no problem giving up the millions they receive in taxpayer funding every year. Why should America fund a space for them when they won't honor a time for students to express their love of America?
This has been the Phyllis Schlafly Report from Phyllis Schlafly Eagles. The liberal agenda is corrupting classrooms in colleges and schools across the country. If you're a parent, teacher, or administrator who really cares about our children, we promise to keep you informed at phyllisschlafly.com. And let us hear from you at phyllisschlafly.com. Thanks for listening, and join us again next time for the Phyllis Schlafly Report.
800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. So this is something, listen, we've talked about this since blockchain technology really hit the center stage. And, of course, obviously Bitcoin being the leader of this. And I'm all for it. I love the idea that let's compete, right? Let's let all the currencies compete. Let gold compete, dollar, the renminbi, cryptos, right? Let us decide which one is the best one. The problem is they don't want that. Right? Who's they? Right? You know who they is, right? The bankers don't want that. They don't want to compete because they know they'll lose. Right? Fiat money is a loser. Right? It plays this vicious game over and over and over and over again. It creates wealth for very few and eventually goes to zero. I mean, that's the playbook. It's been the playbook since the Chinese. You know, it's kind of funny. The Chinese invented fiat money. Most people don't know that. They were the first. Right back in the Ming Dynasty. They were the first. So I'm not surprised now that they want to be the first in crypto. So let me give you an update. There's been a lot of talk about this in the last month or so. China sent cryptocurrencies tumbling on Friday after cracking down on exchanges that are operating illegally against authorities' bans. In other words, China's got a very strict set of rules. And of course, right now, we know crypto's a lot of black market stuff. On November 22nd, authorities in Shenzhen had identified 39 different exchanges falling foul of Chinese cryptocurrency trading bans. Of course, Bitcoin, and I'll just talk Bitcoin, they've lost about 30% of its value in the last 60 days. As China's been cracking down here. And this has always been my worry with Bitcoin is, hey, you work out the kinks, and then when the governments are ready, right, they're going to force these guys out. It appears that China's blockade on non-government sanctioned cryptocurrencies could be on its way to be launching its own digital currency. Now, the time frame. There's people out there that say it's going to be within the next 90 days. Edith Nguyen, she was on CNBC on Friday. And I guess they give her some credibility. She runs, I think, some crypto division for some big bank. She's saying China's going to launch within the next 6 to 12 months. So let's just say within next year, by 2020, China is going to launch. According to her, the Chinese government has been researching the idea for years and has reportedly identified entities to use for a potential rollout. It's really something that has been in the works for the last several years. Here she is. She's a partner at blockchain venture capital fund, Proof of Capital, by the way, in case you wanted to know. And they're talking about within the next 6 to 12 months, she said that China has recently embraced blockchain, with state media reporting President Xi Jinping that the country should look to take the lead in the technology. Wendy Liu, head of China strategies for UBS, echoed the sentiment, saying there was much greater willingness to work with blockchain and 5G. Another one of the reasons for this 5G thing. Of course, China, right, they want to be the first there as well because they want to manage the world's largest population. Due to its own needs, China is going to push in that direction, and you're going to see a willingness to back these technologies more so than anywhere else. As the trade talks go back and forth, Wen says that even though the dollar remains the world's reserve currency for now, the wider use of the renminbi will challenge the United States. And listen, this is the other problem. Right? Go back to what I said. Small banks got a subprime problem. Right? We're seeing default rates now of 5, 6, approaching 7%. That's massive. That's way more than what we had during the financial crisis. Then you have big banks, right? They've got a liquidity problem, right? Every day we got to open the windows and say, okay, give me some of your debt and here's some money. And now we've got a China problem because China now wants the renminbi, right? They smell blood in the water. Hey, let's focus on this trade talk stuff while we get this stuff ready to go. I think the Chinese government is being really smart about driving the renminbi. Can you imagine, especially for the One Belt, One Road initiative? Remember, that One Belt, One Road started it all. Right? That's when we woke up. And we're like, whoa, what? Wait, what? 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 What do you mean? No, you're just supposed to build our stuff for us. Yeah, they got ambitions much bigger than that. They said that they start to land in all virtual renminbi. Many of these countries will want to work with China to start adopting a virtual renminbi. So start thinking about it, right? All these countries now, they're all buying gold. They're all working with China. They all want to get in on the virtual technology. And now all of a sudden we got mainstream media, people coming on CNBC and saying, hey, you better wake up. I really think that it's Monday. I really think the United States needs to hurry up and have a strong thinking and policy and at least a direction for a virtual U.S. dollar. By the way, I'll put that interview up on our website for tomorrow as well. Patriot Radio News Hour, right? I mean, hello. Eight 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. That is our toll-free number. And I really think it's kind of inevitable, right? A virtual, digital, whatever word you want to use, currency, it's coming. I mean, right, when you go to the supermarket, right, you got to scan the card. Right? And they collect the data. Right? They want to know what you buy and try to target, you with, I guess, ads or coupons or, ultimately, what's selling, what's not selling. Information. And China wants to be the leader. Now think of it this way. You're country A, and you're talking to the United States, and you're talking to China, and you're talking about, economic policy, you're talking about how to lead your country and provide financing for things, right? Because usually right now, China and the United States are the two places you go to say, hey, right? And I guess a little bit in Europe as well, hey, invest here, right? And then, of course, we always, there's always strings attached, right? I mean, that's just how it works, right? There's strings attached to the investment. Now think of it as China's coming in and they're saying, hey, listen, we'll help you. Yeah, we'll loan you money. We'll help you build your ports. We'll help you with trade. And we're going to help you with your 5G and your virtual currency. Now you can make sure you can end black markets, right? You can get rid of those evildoer terrorists, right? And all of those people that avoid their taxes and don't want to pay their fair share, right? We can collect all the data and we'll share it with you. Yeah, we'll give you the 5G technology. And you know what? Why don't you just use our virtual renminbi? It'll be great, right? And you can, you buy a bunch of stuff from us as it is, and the stuff that you produce, we buy your stuff, right? We love your soybeans or your hogs or whatever it may be, your rice, right? We need your aluminum. Hey, all that recycled cardboard. And think about the power you can have now. Right? You'll know everything. Right? It'll all be there. Right? The second somebody opens up a virtual account and they start buying whatever it is for their whole entire lives, we'll know it. You'll know it. Yeah, you want to ban guns? No problem. Right? Just take them off the list. Right? You go into the store to, right? Denied, right? All of those things that we worry about. And, of course, in that situation, what does it do? It goes black market, right? And maybe having some gold and silver to trade for, not a bad idea. I know, right? That's crazy thinking. No, it won't happen. Sure it will. Right? And China's going to be out there in the lead, and now you got people talking right on TV saying, hey, listen, it's going to happen this year. Well, in the next year. In 2020, they're going to roll this out. And a lot of people are speculating that China is going to, in order to gain acceptability and bigger acceptability, they may be backing it with gold. Right? That would make sense. And you're starting to think about nothing is happening in a vacuum. You don't think China's talking to all these other countries that are all of a sudden starting to buy gold? Right? It's a theory. Did the lady say that on the TV? No. But what she did say is, hey, the United States better wake up. Because if they don't, right, China's going to start wooing more and more countries into doing business with them. And, of course, we're sitting here talking about a trade deal. And it's been something I've been saying, I don't know for how long. This isn't about trade. This is about world domination, and China's making their play, right? They're coming out with a virtual renminbi. I think they're going to back it with gold. I think they're going to be shopping this around the world along with 5G, and the competition is going to be on. And at the same time, think about it. All our smaller banks, they got bad loan problems. Right? All in the subprime market, which most of the big banks don't even get involved in. We don't got time for that. Right? The big banks, they got much bigger type of liquidity problems. right? We got all these zombie companies that we loan money to that really can never pay us back, but we just keep refinancing them and left pocket, right pocket. And then we got to buy all these treasury notes, and now we got a liquidity problem, and now the central bank's got to keep buying it all and buy them for longer. And all the while, here comes China quietly making its move. Now, if you believe the media, oh, yeah, China's growth. Oh, we're killing them. We're crushing them. Come on. Listen, it's painful, but China doesn't care, right? Listen, right? We know this. So what if their people go a little hungry? It's for the good of the country. Hey, for the good of the customer, I got a great special. It is a small one, but it is a good one. That's coming up next. 800-951-0592. That is our toll-free number. I've got a silver special extraordinaire. I've got 3 cases total. 1 case, 25 rolls, is what I'll call ugly silver eagles, right? That means they've gotten toned, right? Silver tones, we know it tones. They don't look as nice. They're ugly, right? The ugly duckling of the silver eagle market. I've got 25 rolls of silver, the ugly silver eagles, at $1.50-ish over spot. Spot's right near $17 for $18.50. It works out to $370 a roll. By the way, 2019 Silver Eagles, $415. So, huge savings. $370 a roll for ugly Silver Eagles. Then I have 50 rolls of backdate, non-ugly Silver Eagles. In other words, these were kept airtight and didn't get someone's hands all over them or whatever the case may be, at $400 a roll. Now, what would you do if you asked me? Buy the ugly ones. Nobody cares. Right? If it all hits the fan, no one's going to care. Go to Walmart, buy some silver polish, and make them look pretty again, right? So we got 25 rolls of ugly Silver Eagles at $370, 50 rolls of backdate. I don't know the dates. Doesn't matter, whatever date they are, at $400 to the roll. At 800-951-0592. So you got 25 rolls of Silver Eagles at $1.50 over, $1.50-ish over spot, and 50 rolls at just $3 over spot. You know, you think about rolls of Silver Eagles normally run about $4 over, so great savings to be had. 800-951-0592. Gold's down a few bucks, $14.58, $14.59. Silver sitting just under $17. The Dow's up 120. The S&P's up 18. The Nasdaq's up 100. And Cummins is laying off thousands. We'll talk about that. Matter of fact, tomorrow we're going to talk Cummins. We're going to talk Bumblebee Tuna. We're going to talk a whole bunch of other places now that aren't retailers that are starting to feel the pressure of the slowdown that has been upon us as, again, Wall Street. Hey, that's why you're diversified. Let it, rallying because they want to believe that the 3 rate cuts fixed everything. I think we got bigger problems than a rate cut. Patriot Radio News Hour, 2 more shows before we're closed for the rest of the week.